Okay, for this reading we are looking at the controversy over a group that was going to perform the Acts of the Apostles as a morality play in Geneva in 1546, and a sermon from June 27, 1546, where the people who are the players felt that the pastor was insulting them. And we'll read a bit more about that. So this document's a little complicated. There's a city council entry that first mentions it, and then there's what really amounts to a criminal trial dossier in a different and more difficult hand. And then at the end, and it goes back to the city council register for another 2 pages, the recto and verso of folio. And the city council registers are the easier one to read, so I thought we would do that last page, that last folio, recto and verso, together. And it's the same hand as this section that introduces the problem. So this is the original complaint of the joueurs. So it's les joueurs, so Joyeurs, de l'histoire, so L'Hystoryre, contre Monsieur Coq, C-O-C-Q, and then afterwards it's written Cup. His name is Michel Cup, but I think he's a new pastor, and people maybe didn't know his name. We could look up when he started, but anyway, so les queues, which is to say les joueurs, ont fait clame et dénonce, so D-E-N, and then just a sort of a flourish, and then C-E, so dénonce. Could call that, I don't know if I'd say it's N-U or not, or if I would just do D-E-N-O-N-C-E. Contre Monsieur Cup, and in the superscript, and then Cook in the original redaction. Ministre, and it's pretty clear he started to write de, as we can see in the next word, but he thought better of it and wrote ministre de la parole with a S de Dieu, requérant pour ce qui les a blâmés. So pour ce qui, we've seen this before, I think, where it's Q-U-I, but it really should be transcribed Q-U apostrophe I. So it's pour ce qu'il les a blâmés. So because he, that is Cup, les a blâmés en chair, C-H-I-E-R-E, so C-H-A-I-R-E in modern French, en chair, comme ils veulent faire apparaître, so A-P-P-A-R-O-I-S-T-R-E, so basically as they will show, et qui, and this time it's not Q-U apostrophe I, but Q-U apostrophe I-L-S, because, no, maybe not, et qui font partie, so it's just referent back to the les queues. So, et qui font partie criminelle contre lui, so they make a criminal accusation, et seront prisonniers, so that's a typical action when you make a criminal accusation. The accuser goes to prison as well until it's resolved. So, et seront prisonniers. So they offer themselves up as prisoners. Et avant toute chose, qui soit, so here it is again Q-U apostrophe I, qui soit rendu prisonnier. So they say, and first and foremost, they want him taken prisoner too. Disons qu'il, and here it is definitely Q-U apostrophe I-L-S, qu'ils n'ont que faire à Monsieur Calvin. So we have A, M-O-N-S, superscript R, Monsieur Calvin, possibly Calvini, C-A-L. Then we have a V-I-N-I, so Monsieur Calvini. Ni aux autres, A-U-L-T-R-E-S. Prédicant, so P-R-E-D-I-C-A-N-T. And you've got the flourish for the N, so the nasal sound, and then it looks like he wrote the T first and then realized he'd made a mistake, right? So it's looks like it has two T's, but it's prédicant. For, contre ceux, so for, except, contre ceux, now we're in the plural, qui les ont injuriés, so again a lot of humps, but we know blâmer, etc. so far, so I-N, J-U, so it's, I'm sorry, so it'll be I-N-J-U-R-I-E, injurier. Sur quoi? Le dit Calvin, and this time I think it's, let's see, C-A-L-V-I-N, so we would just say Calvin this time. Le dit Calvin a dit au nom, N-O and then the flourish, au nom de tous les autres, so de tous les autres prédicants, que cela a été dit que cela, I think it should be qui a été dit, que c'est de ce qu'appartient à la prédication, so que c'est de ce, and then Q-U apostrophe A-P-E-R-T-I-E-N-T. So everything that was said is within the right of the preacher, basically. Appartient à la prédication et pour remonstrance, whatever, R-E-M-O-N-S-T-R-A-N-C-E-S. Et so it's just you know, preacher preaching. N'est point particulièrement, so that's our normal part, and then T-I-C-U looks like, I think I would say L-L-I-E-R-E-M-E-N-T-Z, et veulent prendre la cause à eux, et aussi requérant être ouïr. So être oui. Not sure why it's in the infinitive, but I think it's meant to be a past participle. Et qui donneront à connaître que cela n'est point été dit à telle intention. So in other words, à telle intention, meaning it was not said by the pastor with the intention of insulting specific people. Et à la malpart. So M-A-L-L-E, malpart. So it was not ill-intentioned. So that's the players who feel they were insulted in pulpit, from the pulpit, want cop arrested, and they're willing to go to jail themselves to see it happen. And Calvin says, no, it's okay. That's what it belongs within the realm of preaching. And I should note that the script to this, I think, was submitted to Calvin's close friend and right-hand man through these early years, Abel Poupin, who approved it, if I'm not mistaken. Then we get into a second section where we're in a proper criminal dossier, and this is a bit hard. So I think if we read this, we would read this maybe on a subsequent session. We'd start with the easy one and work our way backwards. So again, same day, le 28 juin de 1546. I won't read a bunch of it, but just to get started, I think. La dénonce, so, let's see, where am I? La dénonce au nom de au nom et de la part des nobles joueurs. So this time spelled Joeurs. We obviously have a different scribe. The hand is different. The spellings are different. Hommes et femmes, I think this A is crossed out. De la moralité, M-O-R-A-L, I guess L-I-T-E, des actes des apôtres. Octroyer le jeu par nous, magnifique Seigneur de, should be de, I would think, but looks like a petit et grand conseil. Or a petit, perhaps magnifique Seigneur, meaning the syndic, and then the petit et grand conseil. Contre Michel Kopp, again, the spelling confusion. Ministre, with all wise, interesting spelling. Et premièrement, and then we get into the actual articles of accusation. And this is, I mentioned this the last time we saw a criminal trial, but we didn't really have it. It wasn't a very formal trial with the woman who was dancing naked. So number one, and then this is a little funny. He's got a big D here with a 1 in the middle, but that's a 1, and this is a D. Dénonce in third person plural because it's les dits joueurs, right? Les dits joueurs. Que dimanche dernier, 27 de 7 mois de juin de l'an 1546, de matin à Saint-Pierre, Genève, de prêche. Le dit coq, and again the spelling confusion, étant, and some cross out, but étant en chair, and again it's C-H-I-E-R-E, a dit et proféré telle parole ou semblable. Les femmes qui monteront sur l'échafaud, so on the stage, not the gallows, pour jouer, J-O-Y-E-R, pour jouer la something, I have to think about that. Ce sont femmes effrontées, voulant montrer sous les échafauds pour montrer leur corps et habillement et richesse. Et c'est pour mieux pour mieux entrer, C-I-N something, have to think about that, en paillardise. Et femme effrontée, effrontée, something et sans honneur. So those are that's the accusation, is that's what he preached. I have to think about some of those words. And then we get to his responses on the next page, and this is actually maybe a little easier. So before responding, devant que le COP réponde aux articles que l'on a baillés contre lui à nos très honorés et magnifiques seigneurs, and then he sort of defends himself, proteste que dimanche le 27 juin, quand il prêcha, ne savoir qui étaient les hommes ni les femmes qui devaient jouer. Anyway, jouer. So it's J-O-U-E-R. Et que ce qu'il dit en ce prêche ne le dit point par hargne H-A-R-G-N-E, ni rancune, ni par affection de déshonorer personne. So he says he didn't mean anything by it. And then we just saw in that dénonce, actually I should have gone a little bit further here. So that's the, notice this one, I'm going back a page, the dénonce. So this is the first article of accusation, and then you see we have all the other ones. The second article of accusation, item dénonce que le dit Coq a dit que tel, same word again, should be easy. Tel, I just looks like false, F-A-L-S-E, but I'm not sure. And then anyway, so we have all the accusations against him. So 6 articles it looks like. I don't think there's any on the back of the page. Yeah. So then Kopp is responding. He's made his general response, and then he makes his point by point response. Quant, so quand, Q-U-A-N-D, but in the sense Q-U-A-N-T. Quant au premier article, dit que le dit Kopp ne l'avoir proféré, etc. And then we go down quant au second, quant au tiers, quant au quatrième, cinquième, sixième. So that's his responses to all the accusations against him. And then we get into the part that is actually quite hard to read, which is the déposition des témoins examinés de la part des nobles not even sure. Oh, dénonçants. Dénonçants, maybe? I'm not sure about that. Should be des nobles seigneurs or syndic or auditeurs, but anyway, des nobles, it's got to be dénonçants or something. Contre Maître Michel Kopp, finally get his name right, prédicant de Genève, par les seigneurs syndics, and then it's premier témoin, and so l'an 1540, even though it looks like a 9, l'an 1546, et le 28 de juin en la chambre du conseil, DOU. I think this is probably a Genevan writer. That's a common spelling in the patois. The change for the U, OU for a U is common. Conseil, and then we go through the list of witnesses. So, et premièrement honorable, so abbreviated, Pierre Tissot, a well-known character in Geneva, citoyen de Genève, couturier. So he's the first witness, and then we'll just go through his general statement, and they ask him about all 6 articles of accusation, and then we're going to go through a bunch of other witnesses. Nico, item honorable Nico Duchesneau. That's that would be sort of the patois of Duchesne, D-U-C-H-E-N-E. Like again, and he also is a citoyen de Genève, so someone who's born bourgeois. Born to a father who's a member of the bourgeoisie, and born in Geneva. I guess we're at le troisième témoin. And then we're just going to get a bunch more witnesses. Quatrième témoin. Now we've gone to the next day, so we're in day 2 of testimony, and it's our old friend Noble Henri Aubert. who will go on to be syndic and read the execution order against Jean Porral. And so we're just going to go through a bunch of witnesses, all in the same hand. If you really need to read this, if this were really important to you, that would be a great thing, because lots of repetition means you get second and third chances at figuring stuff out. But it probably is pretty tedious for our use. So I thought we would skip, and as a group, at the end, we go back to the original hand that the case was introduced with. This, I think, is the hand of the scribe, and we could read this together. And we're back on the 28th of June, 28 de juin, and then it's les joyeux, or les joyeux, perhaps. It's Joyeu, probably R, but could be X. Probably, I think X as a plural. And then this one's tough, but it's de l'histoire, so it's all kind of run together, but it's de l'histoire des apôtres. And then let's read together this 131, and then the verso, 131 verso.